Did you know there was a morning when just 48 American and Afghan soldiers woke up inside a half-built outpost, surrounded by mountains and villages, and by sunrise they were fighting for their lives against hundreds of attackers? This isn't a movie. This isn't a legend. This is the Battle of Wanat, one of the most brutal last stands in modern U.S. military history. It was July 13, 2008, a remote combat outpost near the village of Wanat, deep in eastern Afghanistan. The base wasn't finished. Sandbags instead of walls, wooden guard towers, no hardened defenses. Veteran soldiers had called it exposed. If the enemy attacked from the surrounding mountains or nearby houses, there would be nowhere to hide, nowhere to run, nowhere to breathe. At 4:20 a.m., as the sky barely began to change, gunfire cracked, then more, then more. Within minutes, over 200 Taliban fighters opened fire from every direction. Rifles from rooftops, machine guns from tree lines, RPGs from village compounds. The outpost was surrounded, outnumbered nearly 4-1, and the soldiers inside felt the same thought hit them at once. We're not making it out of here. Mortars slammed into the guard positions, towers exploded, ammunition detonated in violent chain reactions. One position was overrun, then another. The Taliban pushed so close that some fighters were firing from inside the wire. This wasn't long-range combat. This was face-to-face warfare. The soldiers split into survival teams. Communications failed. Smoke filled the air. The wounded piled up. One soldier described it as the world collapsing in on itself. And yet none of them ran. None surrendered. They moved, they fought, they adapted. The survival of the outpost depended on one thing: holding long enough for air support to arrive. Lieutenant Jonathan Brostrom moved under fire to direct the defense. Bullets tore past him, yet he stayed exposed, coordinating positions, keeping men in the fight. Other soldiers ran across open ground again and again to resupply ammunition. Snipers had full view of them. They ran anyway. By mid-morning, the enemy pushed closer. Entire positions were lost. Taliban fighters reached the center of the outpost. It became hand-to-hand combat. Smoke, fire, blood, chaos reigned. But the soldiers of Wanat refused to give up the ground beneath their boots. After nearly 5 hours, the tide began to turn. Jets roared overhead. Helicopters screamed through the sky. Low bombs struck enemy positions on surrounding hillsides. Pressure lifted slowly, painfully. By late morning, the attack broke. The remaining fighters melted back into the mountains and villages. 9 American soldiers were killed. Many more were wounded. But the outpost did not fall. Military analysts later said, if Wanat had collapsed, the entire region, nearby villages, and supply routes could have fallen. Their stand didn't just save themselves. It stopped a wider disaster. The survivors say the same thing today. The heroes weren't individuals. The heroes were all of them, because none fought alone. No victory parades, no banners, just men who refused to leave each other behind. This was the story of those who stood. This was the story of those who stood their ground when the mountains closed in. Decode the dark. Real war, real heroes, real cost.